I don't have disability. So we can leave it here for the entire thing. Okay. If you need anything, check it in the but I need to acknowledge Mr. Banduleyo, I don't know if you will manage with it. Unless you want me to write for you. I'm going to be July. Must I leave you with a pen? Long live our Tambo, long live. Long live our Tambo, long live. Long live Nelson Mandela, long live. Long live the Jozitube, long live. Amandla. The Master of Ceremonies, I'm told you are also acting Mayor, Comrade Ntabiseng. Government representative, I was told you are representing the president, but you are saying you are not. So I'm a bit confused. Comrade, the Premier of Gauteng in absentia, I'm told he is held up somewhere. Comrade Banyaza Lisupi, ANC delegation led by the General Secretary General, Comrade Balula, SACP delegation led by Comrade Solima Paila, Chris Hani Institute, represented by Comrade Priscilla, councillors of Ekhululeni, comrade and guests. I would like, before I continue with my speech, to acknowledge the following High Commissioners. They mean a lot to me. I was born and brought up in Lesotho. I happen to be a South African by marriage. So the Home Affairs Minister is not here. Maybe he might decide to withdraw my citizenship. Ambassador, the High Commissioner of Lesotho, His Excellency, Mr. Nzime Jafita. So now you can see my people are here, so I'm covered. SG, you can't touch me. I'm protected today. My dear sister, High Commissioner, Ms. Mazuba Monze. As you know, we spend all our time in Zambia. Zambia is our second home. We are where we are, like other countries, because of their contribution. In Zambia, we are treated like Zambians. We are very naughty, we are young, but we were never sent to prison. Thank you very much, and thanks to all the Zambians. Thank you, ma'am. Embassy of the Republic of China, Minister Chancellor Liu Kayam. I don't have to explain, we all know the role that the Chinese played in our struggle up to date. The majority of you politicians go to political school in China. Thank you. I would like to give them a big applause. Today is 31 years since my husband was assassinated. The democratic government is 30 years. On the 29th of May, we are going for elections, and because this is a municipal function, and in the municipality, all political parties are represented, I have decided my speech today is going to be non-partisan out of respect for the political parties in the council. Thank you for your understanding. I remain a member of the ANC, and because it's a government function, I'll be non-partisan, but you all know where my heart is. I'm ANC until I die. In the last 30 years, the reason also why I'm non-partisan, it is because when Chris was assassinated, it was not only the ANC, the SACP who were upset, who mourned his death, but it was all South Africans from all walks of life. So his commemoration, I want to believe, is for all of us as South Africans, but the commemoration is led by SACP and ANC, but he was the people's person. That's a fact. In 30 years, there has been a lot of work done by our government compared to what it was during apartheid. However, in our people's lives, a lot still has to be done. We have challenges of electricity, load shedding, which has contributed to job losses and factories closed. Semi-blind, so you'll excuse me. NESA has increased tariffs by 12.4%. If rounded up, it is 13% SG. Our electricity bills have gone up despite load shedding. They are ridiculously high. Residential rates are not different, though our roads are full of potholes and our city is very dirty. The majority of us cannot afford Eskom bills, and if you can't pay, they cut off your electricity. 35 billion was used by Eskom to buy diesel in 1 year. To me, this is lack of planning by Eskom management and the department responsible for Eskom. The amount of 35 billion could have been used on renewable energy, solar and wind. Our electrical gadgets are broken because of load shedding, and the insurance companies sometimes are reluctant to pay us, all because of load shedding. The cost of living is extremely high. Food prices have gone up. Petrol prices have gone up. Transportation has gone up. Why is the government not cushioning our people on electricity? The government should provide affordable electricity. Why is the government not subsidizing our people on staple food? After so many years, electricity problem has not been solved. My personal view is that there is no political will to solve the challenges we have as a country. Now we are told the load shedding will go to level 16. Really? God help us. We are prisoners of hope. Offenders died in prison for killing Fairfoot. In our democratic country, someone who murders a family of 5 gets 15 years with parole. Is that justice? This is not an attack, or what I'm going to say is not an attack on NPA. But however, we have to speak the truth for a change. Let's stop being nice to each other or politically correct. NPA arrest the alleged wrongdoers with all publicity. When the court date comes, NPA is always asking for postponement because they have not completed their investigations. Why make arrests when investigations are not completed? There are court cases which have been going on for years, all because the NPA will ask for a postponement as they are not done with investigations. Is that fair for those people and their families? Because remember, those people have not been found guilty. Justice delayed is justice denied. My concern is we as South Africans are not preserving the legacy of black people. E.g., it has been decided without us being consulted as a nation that Dingani's Day is now called Day of Reconciliation. Sharpeville Massacre is called Human Rights Day. Robben Island, where people suffered over many years, is now a voting venue. Why do we change our history? Sharpeville Massacre happened. Why do you decide to call it human rights? My problem is our children will never know history, except I think most parents are doing that. I decided to tell my grandchild the truth, that Human Rights Day is nonsense. It's Sharpeville Massacre. People were killed. So I don't understand where we got the human rights. Nobala, please, just on our behalf, make sure history is recorded correctly for our great-grandchildren. It is not mine I've taught the correct history. In 2002, Cabinet appointed the Electoral Task Team, which was chaired by Mr. Frederick van Zyl Slabet. Its task was to draft a new electoral legislation required by the Constitution. The report was published in 2003 January, but Parliament did not implement its recommendation and drafted a new legislation. The present electoral system is working against accountability because proportional representation hand power to political bosses, which in turn disempowers the votes. MPs feel beholden to their political parties rather than the people who elected them. Voters should be able to elect their representatives directly, who are accountable to them, not to political parties. I strongly suggest, Nobala, that we revisit Mr. Slabe's report. Now, I want to go back to the load shedding. I was watching TV one time, there was a debate. I can't remember what the subject was. But one of the MPs made a statement as follows: load shedding is not the end of the world. What an unfortunate and reckless statement, speaking from position of power and privilege. My point is, people are suffering because of load shedding. The 2023 matriculants studied with candlelight, and somebody stands up and makes this unfortunate statement. Now, if that person was elected by constituency, I bet my last cent they would have recalled her. But what did I see? MP slapped hands for that. It's unfortunate. I would like to make an appeal to whoever becomes the president after elections not to have a bloated cabinet. Honestly, we are suffering. Some of the deputy ministers, we don't know who they are. We hardly see them. We know ministers. But can South Africa afford a bloated cabinet? And father, that was willing to die for the cause he believed in. We not only accepted that, but we embraced it because we loved him and the vision he had for South Africa. It was shared family vision and desire. Today, we had even more because it was not worth his life. It was not worth me being a widow. It was not worth my children being fatherless and his grandchildren not knowing him. This government has failed him and all of us. Countless of our people have died for our so-called freedom. I can tell you this is not what they had in mind as they laid down their lives. In conclusion, I would like to read what Chris said. When I was doing this research about his speeches, I found this, what he said, but couldn't find the date. I could not find the date or where he was talking. However, this is what he said. And I would like all people who are going to be on the ground campaigning to listen very, very carefully. It's important for all of us as a country. This is what Chris said, open quotes: "Comrades, you must not fear and try to suppress opposing political ideas, even if they come from opposing political opponents of other organizations. You must improve your level of debates to expose bankruptcy of the ideas of your opponent without using violence and vulgar language. The use of labels and insults in a political debate shows the poor political education. In fact, I doubt comrades who jump into labeling and insult if they are truly schooled in our liberation culture of debate and political education, close quotes. Now, 29th, we should all go and vote for the political parties so that our democracy becomes strong. Thank you very much. Amandla.
Thank you very much, Madam Po. We continue to appreciate you and we are eternally grateful for your being. Before we continue with our program, I would like to acknowledge Minister of Employment and Labor, Ndate Tulas Ngesi, who's also going to be our program director in the second session. Are you ready now, Acting President? I would like to call Dade Nzimande.
Amandla. Let me start by greeting the General Secretary of the SACP, Comrade Solima Paila, and members of the Central Committee, and thank the party for having ensured over the last 31 years that we don't forget this hero of ours. Let me also greet the SG of the ANC, Comrade Fikile Mbalula, and all the members of the NEC, as well as, by the way, the provincial leaderships and local structures of both the ANC and the SACP. Let me greet the leaders of all political parties who are here from the Ekurhuleni municipality, and thank you for continuing to officially honor and embrace this hero of our country, Ukrisan. Let me also greet all the ministers who are here and deputy ministers. Specifically, let me greet the Speaker of Ekurhuleni, Sisintabse, and all the other officials of the municipality. Greetings to all the ambassadors, high commissioners, and other members of the diplomatic corps who have joined us today. And let me say all protocol observed and greet all the participants who are here today. Let me clarify the capacity in which I'm in here and speaking today, because I've noticed that I'm being lobbied now to declare South Africa a People's Socialist Republic of South Africa. by virtue of being an acting president. Now, I had to tell this one comrade to say, you don't declare socialism, you struggle and end socialism from the ground. And you don't use someone who's said to be acting as president. I'm here as minister representing the government of the Republic of South Africa. I've been requested by the president to do so. So there's a big difference between being an acting president as a minister asked by the president to represent the government of the Republic. I would just like to say that on behalf of the government of the Republic of South Africa, we regard heroes like Chris Hani and many others as founders of South Africa's democracy. The fact that they did not see this democracy does not detract from the fact that they are the founders. And government is committed to do more to ensure that this is being recognized. I get the message that government should consider establishing a proper museum. I will indeed take this message to the President of the Republic of South Africa. As far as I'm concerned, I think it actually is a legitimate request and aspiration for a proper museum of the late Chris Hani to be established. Even more so because in his case, it was his assassination, brutally murdered by right-wingers, that led to 27th of April being set up as the date of the first ever democratic election. But secondly, also, I would like to say that on behalf of the government of the Republic of South Africa, we will also, Owesome, do what we have been wishing. Ask one of our research institutions to pay for the writing of an official and family-endorsed biography of the late Comrade Chris Hani. We don't have such. Ngithi nizoshaya kakhulu izandla ngoba sinayo incwadi ebhalwe ngaleli qhawe. So we will do that as government, and we'll do it unapologetically, because sometimes we as government, sometimes we allow ourselves, Comrade Gungubele, to be intimidated by people who never fought for this country and tell us all sorts of stories about why we cannot tell our own history. So we will tell this history of one of the founding fathers of South Africa's democracy, Comrade Chris Hani. We are also commemorating the 31st anniversary of, in honor of Comrade Chris, is that on the 29th of May, we urge all South Africans to go out in their numbers and vote on the 29th of May. I can't go beyond that. Go out and vote in your numbers in order to defend the gains that we have made and also to pursue the path of a democratic South Africa. That is very important. But secondly, 30 years of our democracy, there are a number of things that if Comrade Chris were alive, would have been very happy about those things that this government, as led by the African National Congress over the last 30 years, has done. In fact, it's interesting that we can tell the achievements of the last 30 years through the very same campaign that Comrade Chris died leading, the Triple H campaign. The campaign on health, campaign to fight hunger, and campaign for housing. That's the campaign he was leading. And we can tell a good story just around this campaign. First of all, Comrade Chris Hani would be very happy that in the deepest of the rural areas of South Africa, you do find a sign that points you to a clinic. That we dare not underestimate. It's a legacy and an achievement of this government that no matter the fact that there are challenges, that some of the clinics may not be to the standard we want, but in every little corner of South Africa there is a health clinic. That is an achievement that he would have been very happy about as part of the campaign that he led. But most importantly, we will be today celebrating with Comrade Chris Hani that this parliament of a democratic South Africa has passed the National Health Insurance Bill, the NHI, which now awaits the signature of our president. By the way, historians, Professor Khate, will have to write one day, because there is a very direct link between that Triple H campaign and the NHI. This is a very, very important achievement. But one other achievement in the area of health that Comrade Chris would have been very happy about is that in the wake of COVID-19, and from our experiences of developed countries depriving us vaccines, we have now, as South Africa, for the first time, developed local capacity to develop our own vaccines in South Africa. Not only for South Africa, but for the continent as a whole, and to develop the many vaccines that this continent actually needs. Scientists tell us that we have now, because of climate change, we have entered the era of pandemics. So it's very important that we don't become beggars, but we have our own local vaccine development capacity. That's on the health side. Just some of the things. On the issue of hunger, one of the biggest achievements of this government has actually been to establish, by the way, a system of social grants to alleviate poverty and for our people to be able to make some ends meet. Inadequate as they may be, but I am not aware in the sub-Saharan Africa of any system that has got social grants like we have. Whether it's the child grant, the old age grant, the grant for those with disabilities, and so on. That's a very important platform to fight against poverty and also against hunger. And it's something that is important. But one of the most important social grants, if you like, or grants that South Africa has established is an education grant, which, by the way, firstly, operates in the schooling system not as a grant, but about 80% of South Africa's schools are fee-free schools. There are no fees that are being paid there. And then there is the National Student Financial Aid Scheme that, since it was established in 1991, by the way, it was our former President Mandela who went to de Klerk, the last apartheid president, and said, you shall establish a scheme to help poor children to go to universities and colleges in 1991. That year, NSFAS was 21 million. This year, NSFAS has reached 50 billion rands, and it's supporting more than 1 million students. And since its establishment in 1991, it has supported more than 5 million students. Now, the most distinct thing about NSFAS is that it breaks intergenerational poverty. This thing of one family handing poverty to its generation that comes after it. Once you produce an artisan through NSFAS or an engineer or a medical practitioner, it's the end of poverty for that family. And usually it's next generations. These are some of the things that are very important in taking forward the struggle that Comrade Chris had. The last one, which is housing. South Africa has actually built a lot of houses for poor people. According to our census, in addition to houses, which are way beyond 2 million, census also shows that in 1996, only 58.1% of the houses were electrified. But in 2022, it was 94.7 houses electrified. Owesome, as government, we are not happy about load shedding. We are doing all we can to fight to end load shedding. And we call upon all our people to join us in this fight. We need to end load shedding because it is a subtraction to our economic growth and development, amongst other things. We must also take up this struggle to protect the advances we've made in providing piped water, from 32.3 in 2001 to 59.7 in 2022. So as government, we want to say today, but Chris, as some of us used to call him, would have been very proud of these achievements. Of course, we are under no illusion that we still have a lot to do to take forward. In particular, there are challenges that we've done something about, but we are far from addressing them. The issue of jobs, the issue of economic growth and development, that's one of the key challenges that we face, as well as some of the social ills that we face. For instance, the scourge of gender-based violence. And as government, we also want to call upon men